if you look really closely, there's a lot of animals down here, but we're going to be talking about this one, and I want you guys out there at home to yell out loud to your parents what animal we're going to be looking at. So we have to dig really deep for them. Let me see. Hold on, I'm going to switch over. So you're going to dig really deep for them. And they're really in there, because I'll talk to you guys about what they have that gets them stuck like that. Look at that. Does anybody, and you get really dirty doing this. Does anyone know what this is? So again, at home, say it out loud if you know. I know a lot of you guys have come down here because each week when we are open, we do different programs, and this is one of them that we do once in a while. And Daly is right, this is a mussel. So yes, Emma, I hope Emma said that. This is a mussel. I'm gonna switch over. So mussels aren't like your arm muscles. This is an animal. I know a lot of you guys out there see these and think shell, right? I bet there was a lot of answers that was a shell. You can't really see it though, but this is what it looks like when it's clean. So this is called a ribbed mussel. This is called a ribbed mussel. Why do you think it's called a ribbed mussel out there? Can you look at it really closely? This might be a hard one. But if you see all along the edges here, all along it, if you feel it, when you guys come down here and do this with me, you could feel these, and it has these little grooves in them. So they call it a ribbed mussel because it looks kind of like ribs, little grooves. And it's different than other mussels. So there's a lot of different types of mussels out there. Like there's a lot of different types of us. There's a lot of different types of mussels. There's not just the ribbed mussel, but a big one that a lot of my parents probably know is the blue mussel, and that's the one that you eat. The blue mussel is what you eat. These aren't the most edible. They don't taste very good, and you don't want to come down here and grab these to eat them. They're not good. So these guys obviously live down there, and they're something called a filter feeder. So filter feeders are there's people up there. Filter feeders are animals that bring in the water and take the little tiny animals and plants out of the water and eat those. So what these guys do when this area over here that you see behind me is all filled with water again, and the tide comes back up, you're gonna see they'll open up a little and they'll let water in, and they'll eat those animals that are inside of them. So these ones have a lot of different things inside of them, and since they're right here by the river and they're all over the place, they're from Maine to Florida, they're all over the place, they have a lot of different stuff in them, so they don't really want you to eat them. They're not sold to people. Some people eat them though, but the blue mussels are what you want to eat. So I'm going to open this guy up for you guys. And I do want to give a quick shout out to a special little girl that's watching, hopefully. Her name is Emma Zelmanovic. Probably not saying the last name wrong, right? But I want to say hi, and I can't wait for you to come down to the Marine Education Center and visit. So what I'm doing now is opening this guy up. So it's pretty cool. You get really dirty doing this, but it's fun. So a really cool thing about the mussel, because a lot of people are like, Kyle, why are you talking about mussels? They're boring. They're actually really cool, and they're very, very important to the ecosystem. to the water here because they filter feed, like I said before. So they bring in those bad things and they clean it out. So they clean water really well. So I'm opening this. And another really cool thing about these guys is when the tide is up and they are filter feeding, say they're open a little bit, if you could see, they're kind of open like that when you see them underwater. So when something comes by and casts a shadow on them, you know, your shadow, sometimes you chase your shadow. When something comes by and they see that shadow, not see, they don't have eyes, but they have something that's kind of like a photoreceptor. It's kind of like when you walk into a bathroom and the light comes on. That's how I like to explain it. So when they see that shadow, they close right back up. Because what their shell does, what do you think their shell helps them do? Anyone out there? Again, these are going to come through a little slow, so I'll let you guys answer at home. Their shell, I'm going to tap on it, hopefully you can hear it. It's very, very hard. So what their shell helps them do is protects them, right? It's like our bones, very, very hard. So when they close up like that, they're also very, very tightly closed. So when something comes by and they sense that light kind of, they close right back up because it's harder to get to them when they're closed up. Yes, Emma, protection. Protection. So these, I had a question out there and I did see it from Mr. Martin. These are both in freshwater and saltwater. So another cool thing about these guys is that they can handle very, very drastic, a wide range of water temperatures, water salinities. So they're in all types of water. So I'm opening it up right now. So I'm going to show you guys. Let's see. Didn't open it. I was distracted, so I didn't open it. See the inside? Yucky. That's what the inside looks like. So a lot of you guys don't know what they look like unless they're cooked, but that's your mussel. So I want to show you this. So there's something over here and it's called a foot. What do you think the foot does for the mussel? So just like your feet helps them move, right? So that's their foot. They also have something called Bissell threads. You can't really see them right here, but they look like little pieces of string. And that string, like you saw when I was trying to take it out of the ground, that string, here, let's see. Can you see that string there? No, probably not. There you go. So that string helps them hold on to the ground here. So when they are babies, when they're young, they're tiny, tiny, tiny. Can't really see them without a microscope. And then they land somewhere like where I'm sitting right here, and they hold on tight with those Bissell threads because when the water comes up and the water comes up and goes down, they're gonna get moved around. So they need those to really hold on. So I want you to see, this one's a little better. Okay. So there's that foot that helps them move. There's the Bissell threads here. And so then right here, and everyone at home, you could say Bissell threads. It's a little hard. Right here are the gills. So what do you think the gills help them do? So the gills help them breathe, just like fish. They also help them eat. I know it's weird. You wouldn't think that gills help something eat. But these gills have a type of like nasty goo on them that lets the plankton sit. Yes, Mr. Martin. So then around here, you're gonna see, you can't really see, but when you guys come down here and do this with me, around here is something called the mantle. So the mantle actually helps protect their softer organs. So that's what that is. And my next thing is, do you think you could tell if they're a girl or a boy? Probably really hard to tell if they're a girl or a boy usually. But actually in the summer, that mantle that I pointed out, if you come down here and do this with me, you could actually tell if it's a girl or a boy by the mantle. So the mantle is either darkish, it's like a brownish color for the girl, and it's a light color, like a cream, for the boy. And that's how you know. Sorry. So, everything's blowing around. Sorry. Right. So, I want to show you guys a couple of other animals that live down here that are close to what the ribbed mussel is. So the ribbed mussel has has two shells, right? So that shell, what does that shell help them do again? So the shell protects them. The shell's very hard. They have two shells. Has anyone ever seen this animal before? So this is an oyster. This also has two shells. So these are pretty closely related. Let's see my last animal. There he is. Hold on. Coming back. So these are some of the animals that live right where I'm stepping here. You can't really see this one, but I'm sure you guys could tell kind of what it is. This is a clam. So there's a lot of these animals that live down here. What do you think likes to eat these animals? Anybody out there? If we remember my first lesson, we know one of the animals that likes to eat these guys. So we remember sea stars, right? Sea stars like to eat these guys. And birds. Birds are a big one. And it's really cool, again, when you guys come down here, sometimes you could see the birds, grab the oysters, or, nice Charlotte, very good. People, that's a good one. People like to eat them. You don't want to eat the ones out of the water here, but if you go a little farther up the Long Island Sound, you're gonna have a lot of people eating those oysters and clams, but not these mussels, the blue mussels. Remember, you don't want to eat the ribbed mussels, really. You can, but they're not delicious. So another big one that's in my tanks here is the blue crab. Has anyone seen a blue crab out there? If you come to the center, you've probably seen some. So the blue crab is a big one. They love to eat the mussel. And around here, the birds. So again, I missed my point. When the birds are, when the low tide, when the birds are out, if you guys come down here, you could see them, throw them up into the air and let them crash down, and it opens them up so it's easier for them to eat. So I'm gonna go through the inside one more time. Does anyone remember what that little thing is called? So that right there is my foot. So again, just like our feet, it helps them move. And then right here, let's see if I could pick it up. See if anybody remembers. Just like our fish have. What is that? Let's see. Can I see it? Can you see it? That. Let's see. So just like my fish have, those are gills. So the gills, again, help them breathe and then also helps them eat. And this is a big question. Let's see if anyone can answer it. How do these guys eat? What's that word called? So some of you guys at home have like a water purifier or a water filter. So this is an easy way to remember how they eat. They're filter feeders. So just like your filter at home, kinda, they bring in the water and they clean it out. Instead of putting it into that filter, though, at home, they eat it, kind of. They're plankton. And we're going to talk about plankton soon, I promise. I know you guys are excited about that one. But I love plankton. So then, the easy question, what is this mussel called and why? I'm going to get a cleaner shell really quick. This is one of its shells. What's this mussel called and why? So, if you answered at home, I hope you did. There you go. I got one answer. So this is called a ribbed mussel because it has those ribs on it. And really cool about them is, not from sitting right here and counting, but you can tell what age they are by those ribs on its shell. There's darker ribs that you could count. And that's how you tell how old they are. And they could live pretty old. They could live 15 years or higher. So when you count those ribs there, you could see. And another cool thing I want to reiterate is when they're down in the water and they see one of those predators come, one of those mean crabs or let's say a blue crab comes along, they see that shadow and they're open like that, they close up. And why do they close up? They close up because they're safer when they're completely closed up like that. They're safer when they're completely closed up because, again, that shell helps protect them.